On Friday morning, it wasn't just the rain that came tumbling down across the northwest. The Labour Party slowly watched as one by one some of their safest seats were declared as Conservative gains. But how did local residents react to the news?
I think I actually woke up early this morning, some because of anxiety and sort of a bit of a fear. Personally, I think I just want to see him actually bring the country together. And like I said, for myself, I voted Labour, but I'm an optimist by nature, so I'm hopeful that he somehow manages to bring the country together, kind of, cuts through the divide that Brexit has caused. My hope is just overall that, I'm actually wrong about him, and like sort of my initial liking him wasn't actually misplaced in the past when he was mayor of London and whatnot, but because he seemed like a funny character, but I never really envisioned him as someone that's going to be running the country.
Some of my concerns are around accountability. So during the campaign, I did not see a leader who was prepared to be held to account. We saw him on a number of occasions choosing not to be interviewed, choosing not to attend debates. One of the things that affects how I feel about a leader is seeing a leader who is prepared to stand up and own their opinions, own their mistakes. And that is not what I currently see, and I hope to be proved wrong.
So, as we've heard, the Conservatives gained 66 seats overnight to get their largest majority in Parliament since Margaret Thatcher in 1987. Here in Greater Manchester, there are several former Labour strongholds that are now with the Conservatives. Those include Bury North and South, Hayward and Middleton, and probably most surprising of all is the constituency of Lee, which was of course Andy Burnham's old seat. Well, they're all now represented by the Tories.
I think it demonstrates that people want decisiveness, that things that are black and white and binary are easier to accept, and I think a bit of certainty is what people wanted, and I think the people have decided that they want certainty over uncertainty.
My thoughts are now that the history of democracy and the history of working class movements are not the same thing. And working class movements, Labour as a working class party, as a socialist party, is clearly in long-term decline, and democracy has delivered a very different result. And that was becoming apparent in the 1980s, although understandably a lot of people hope things are different. But the story of democracy is now a very different thing from the story of working class movements, and I don't think we can assume they're ever necessarily going to come back together again.
The Conservatives were clear winners in constituencies where the majority voted to leave in the 2016 EU referendum. They won almost 3/4 of all those seats.
I didn't get to sleep very well. I saw the exit poll last night and then sort of drifted in and out listening to the results all night, so can't say I had a wake-up feeling. For me personally, I need some way to channel all that energy and sadness, and so what I want to do is get involved now with citizens' assemblies and the campaign for alternative voting, because I need to sort of channel this and say no, we can't just accept this lying down.
So I think we'll now be in a cycle of democratic activity, but not necessarily big movement, big party electoral activity, and I think that will probably in the long term strengthen democracy. So I would say people who feel for one reason or another depressed about the results today, try and think long term. People's commitment, people's ingenuity does find ways to make itself effective, but just be patient.
Boris Johnson now has a Commons majority of 80, with MPs expected to return to Westminster on Monday. Bronnie Jones, That's TV.